2021 is coming to an end, and as many of you have been reflecting on my life, business and personal, and I've kind of discovered that there are these 5 mental hacks / mindset tricks that have really helped me throughout the year. So I'm going to share these 5 tricks with you, and hopefully they will help you crush 2022. Hack number 1 is don't be a donkey. And this idea was actually popularized by Derek Sivers, the founder of CD Baby and one of the first people to sell CDs online. Fun fact, when I was working at a consultancy firm, I actually emailed Derek, and the subject of the email was de-donkifying myself. So I very much felt like a donkey. And here's what this idea means. Let's just pretend this is a donkey, right? Then on this side, there is water. And on this side, there is hay. So the donkey is so confused which direction to go because he's both thirsty and hungry. So he just stays in the middle and dies hungry and thirsty. Understanding that you can do everything you want, you really can, you just can't do everything you want at the same time. So instead of thinking like a donkey, you should think this way. Okay, so there are some goals that you want to hit. You want to start a business, you want to get another degree, you want to do online courses, let's say on one side. And on the other side, you want to make this other career move, you want to travel, so on and so forth. So a lot of the times people, and myself included, they would just stand in the middle, really indecisive which direction to go, and you're wasting your precious time. Instead, understand that you can treat all of these goals as 6 months to 1 year projects, and you can do them one after another. So first you do the business, then you do the other career move, then know that in the future you will be able to travel and this and that. So if you have this long-term mindset, you will not be a donkey. Mind hack number 2 is I am the kind of person that. And I got this hack from James Clear in his book, The Atomic Habits. Here's what it means. So when you want to build a new skill in 2022, a new habit, become a different person, become a better person, according to research, what works best in this situation is to make that habit, that skill, that thing part of your identity. Right? And every time you do one of these, when you read, every time you don't sleep in, every time you go for a run, every time you pick up a book, every time you make another K or whatever, then you give a vote. All of these are votes versus the opposite. So not reading, waking up late, not exercising. You're voting for this type of person. And once this identity has enough votes, then you become that. So that's basically the point. Instead of setting outside goals, habits, skills, make them part of your identity and be the kind of person that. Mental hack number 3 is to realize that when you're navigating your life, professional and personal, a compass is much more useful than a map. So this idea was popularized by Chase Jarvis in his book, Creative Calling. And the idea is the following. When we think about life progression, we generally tend to default into thinking of it as a map. So you know the beginning and the end, and you're moving from 1 to 2 to 3, and this is where you kind of achieve what you want. But we know that in real life it's not quite like that, and thinking like this is too restrictive, and you're not being flexible about achieving your goals, and you're not having fun in the process because you're so focused on making your way around the map. Life is more of a compass, so when you're thinking about which direction to go, instead of trying to lay everything out for you and think about the end journey, like, oh, I want to be a millionaire by 30, or oh, I want to get a job at this company, think about, let me just move in the direction that makes sense for me. So you take one step, you check the compass, and you see where it's headed, right? And then you think, okay, do I like this? Does it make money? Do people think that it's useful? Do I enjoy doing this? And then based on that feedback from yourself, but also from the world, you adjust. And this kind of compass is what you use throughout your life. So I'm the kind of person who wants to do a few different things, and sometimes I can't prioritize well, so I try a few at the same time, and just as I run out of time, I drop things. So to me, this idea of a compass was actually super useful, because right now in my career, with my company, my content, and just myself, I try to make sure that I move towards what works and move away towards what doesn't, rather than set myself targets, for example, financial targets by a certain age, or subscriber growth targets by a certain timeline that just give me more anxiety and more stress. Instead, I focus on making a difference and having fun while doing it, and this for me works much better. Hack number 4 is actually more of a question that I have been asking myself for a few years now, and I find that it really helps me take back control of my life and fix my mindset. This question I got from Tim Ferriss, a podcaster, author, so on and so on. So thanks a lot for that. The question is, how am I complicit in creating the conditions in my life that I say that you don't want. And once you figure out how you're complicit, then you can easily change that, and you're in full control of this particular word. Rather than when you say, how can I improve my life, that can be up to other people. When you say, you know, what they can change, how they can change, you don't control that. You don't control other people, you don't control the weather, you don't control your boss, you don't control your company, you don't control your clients. But what you do control is how you're complicit in creating undesirable conditions. So every time when I'm in a situation when I'm about to start blaming someone else, or I'm about to start blaming myself, which I do an unhealthy amount of, instead I like asking myself that question, like, how am I complicit in creating these things that I don't want? And then once you've figured out how you're complicit, then you know that you can solve that. So if it's like, okay, I could maybe wake up earlier to get more stuff done to make sure that I have enough time, let's say, for my partner. Like, oh, maybe I can create some kind of a presentation for my team to see maybe if they could understand my vision, those types of things. So instead of blaming yourself, instead of blaming others, ask, how are you complicit? Mind hack number 5, and the last one for this video, is about you thinking about what others are thinking about you. And I can really relate to that, because I remember when I posted my first YouTube video, it was this unnecessarily long book review that looked horrible, sounded horrible, was not a good video. And when I posted that, I was thinking like, oh, what are my colleagues going to think about this? Like, oh, what are my friends going to think about this? And I remember I hesitated before posting the next one because I felt that the last one like did so badly. And then I remember when I was leaving my job, leaving the consultancy firm I was at to start an agency, I remember also thinking like, oh, what are my colleagues going to think? Like, I've put it on display, so if I leave now and it's not going to work out, they're going to think that I'm a loser. And that also added unnecessary stress and anxiety in my life. And the quote that I kind of use, and the mindset that I use when I get caught in this problem, is that if you realized how little other people think of you, you would never be worried about being judged by others, right? So don't worry about what other people think, because they really don't think about you. And the research backs that. There was a research that says, that was done in kind of mid-90s, but I think it's still kind of relevant now, that 78% of all thoughts and conversations that people have about themselves and how different ideas relate to their life. So, and if you think about yourself and what you talk about, what you think about, then you also realize that you don't really think about other people. You know, that situation when you're in a conversation, you're just waiting for your turn to speak. So you're not actually even listening to what everyone else has to say because you can't wait to make your point. So really don't worry about what other people think of you, how other people might judge you if you do this, or if you do that. This will slow you down. And one way not to worry about it, I realized for me, is to understand that they really don't think of you. So that's it for this video, and probably it is going to be the last video I post in 2021. So I just want to use this moment to say Happy New Year if you celebrate that, Happy Christmas if you celebrate that, Happy Holidays. I hope that you've had a good 2021, and I certainly hope that 2022 is going to be even better for you. You know, before making this video, I thought about like doing a video about 5 like productivity tricks or productivity techniques to do in 2022, but I kind of realized for myself that like a lot of this start with the mindset. So hopefully if you use these 5 hacks, then watching my productivity videos or tricks and hacks and like more practical tools, that's going to be easier once you've got the mindset down. I feel that if your mindset is all screwed up and like wrong, then it's really difficult to take those practical tools and piece of advice and then apply them correctly. So I just want to say that if, you know, you've been stuck in a rut, you know, if past year, past 2 years, like they were really bad, and you feel like you've digressed and you've like, you don't know how to get out of this like mental block, or like you just feel kind of stuck, I just want to tell you that like people totally changed. Like I have changed. I used to not read at all and just like watch social media or whatever, and now I read a book a week, and that's how I kind of identify myself, and I don't think that I will ever kind of stop. So I just want to say that if you feel after watching this that like, oh, but I'm so stuck and like I'm so broken and I'm so clueless and I'm just not this type of person, I'm not the type of person to start a business, I'm not the type of person to like follow my dreams, because looking at my life in the past 2 years, there is nothing in those 2 years that would make me feel confident that I can do something, that I can change my life, because you look at that evidence and you see kind of how, let's say, you know, weak or undisciplined or lost you've been, and you can't find anything there. I just want to say that maybe starting with this video and in 2022, you can start changing. And I promise you that if for 6 months, you take on these 5 mind hacks and try to start implementing them, you pick up a few good habits by middle of 2022, right? It doesn't have to be a year-long goal. Like, your life will be completely different. So I just want to, before embarking on anything in 2022, I just want you to know that your life doesn't have to be what it was in the past year, in the past 2 years. Oh, wow. I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. If you want to give me the best present ever for this New Year's, just please do one thing. Subscribe, or like, or send this video to your friend. If you do all 3, then that's like, so thank you very much and Happy New Year.